Alright, so this car way back, I don't know exactly when, but somebody removed the antenna. If you know, these cars used to have an electric antenna like a mast, and it used to come up when you turn the radio on. Well, they always broke, and the other problem is they never would be straight to the car. They always looked odd. I had one on my Type R and I repaired it to get it working, and it still looked awful. So what we did is we did a universal antenna here. First off, it had a plug in here and it had an antenna under the dash, and it never really worked. The radio stations didn't come in properly. So this is a universal antenna. The mast is a little long maybe, but that's something that you can unscrew. We'll play with that a little bit. Looks like it might need to angle that way, but it looks pretty good. If you remember earlier episode, the speakers were all messed up. It had extra wire in and amps and removed and all this good stuff. So what we did is we put a pair of coaxials that we had here that just fit in the front correctly, and then the ones that were in the front that didn't fit right, we put in the back. So it doesn't have separates. We don't have to cut the door panels for the tweeters. So now we have coaxials in the front and the back. So it'll sound decent, and I don't know what stereo was in it, but it was a decent stereo. We're not into stereos. We're not doing amps and subs and all that good stuff. I'm sure other people will tell me this is the system you should get. But for me personally, as long as it has some kind of sound, I'm happy. So one thing that we found, and we're going to get it rectified. If you look, the VIN is half covered up with sponge, but part of it is these letters go all the way over to here, which means the windshield is that way quite a bit. And it's to a point where if you look here, there's the edge of the windshield. It's like the molding doesn't quite cover it up. You see my finger there? There's the edge of the glass. There's the red. And you can see also by this dot matrix here, if I put my finger behind there, you see where my finger is? Not a big deal. I mean, it sucks, it's not right, but the windshield company's like, hey, no problem, we're coming out, we'll fix it. They're going to be here tomorrow. They're going to pull this windshield out and put it back in, and they're actually bringing a spare windshield just in case they smash this one getting it out, which I don't know what the probability of that is, but at least they're taking care of it, because I mean, we're trying to build a nice car here. It's not, you know, like a quickie, just make it go down the road car. It's, I mean, it's borderline a total restoration here, so at least they're taking care of that, because this is just, ugh, look at that, it's awful. So I feel a whole lot better about that. So engine prep, taking off all the plastic, tape, and everything that we did to mask everything up. We'll clean this a little bit more, and then we can prep to start putting the engine in today. The rest of the interior can go back in here soon. I got the carpet out back. I'm doing a little bit of tweaking with the carpet. You remember we have 3 different carpet options now for this car, so I want to put the best one out the group in. We're doing a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of restoration on it, and then once that is in, these panels can go back in. Look at those seat belts. That's probably one of our favorite parts of the car so far. But the door panels can go back in, and then obviously the carpet door panels, antenna solution, we already talked about that. Anywhere that the wire is close to anything, this is the way it sits. I actually cut a piece of sponge and ran the wire inside of it so that when it's trapped in the door panel there, it's not going to rattle and drive everyone nuts. But it is coming together. I mean, everything's clean. Headliner's back in, moldings are back in. The rubber moldings made all the difference around here. This is actually quite pricey, but it makes all the difference, and it should stop the glass doing that rattle. When you slam the door on an Integra, they're notorious for rattling. So hopefully now we have the new rubber tracks on each end. That shouldn't happen. Alright, so we're taking the AC line apart that had like a covering. We're going to put new covering on there. Of course, all the engine harness and body harness we're going to fix and rewrap and get it looking perfect. But of course, if there's anything that we can restore without painting it, we're going to go ahead and do that. A little bit of cleaner wax. So the best carpet, we went ahead and re-dyed this so it looks nice and black. It sure looks cleaner in there, but it's the best carpet out of the group. So the harness is coming together. Now we can start putting the door panels back in. These just clip back in. They're a little bulky, might take 2 people to do this, but they're not too bad. It's pretty straightforward, and that looks a whole lot cleaner already. So same thing, a whole bunch of clips, get it lined up, and it pops right into place. Alright, so I got the upper seats here. These are the Integra Type R seats. This is what was in it from way back, even before I bought it. The very first time these were in it. Well, common problem is they tend to fade on the top. They go to almost like a dark blue color, which you can't really see in this light. You can a little bit. You see this is mainly what fades. The Alcantara part doesn't usually have a problem. It's this. So I'm going to go ahead and refinish that on both seats to make that look nice and fresh. You can kind of see the color change. You see where it goes nice and black there, then it goes to blue. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh that and shampoo these, make them look good. Same with the front seats. The front seats get this in the same place, as well as the door panels. The door panels are the ones that I got from the UK. Well, they're in pretty good shape, but they still have a little bit of bluing on this material. So I'll go ahead and clean those up and refresh them. I'll show you what they look like. Alright, so it's hard to see on camera. I'm getting it towards the light, but now it's much blacker, much crisper look. Now I've redone both of those. It needs shampooing a little bit more because it's still like a little, it almost gets like stuck together almost. If you shampoo it and agitate it and then vacuum it real good, it will actually look more like, almost like a velvet look, as opposed to like smooth and shiny from oils and stuff and things touching it. But now it looks much blacker. It'll show more once it's in the car. You'll be able to see a little bit better. Try and get some different lights here, but it looks definitely a lot crisper and blacker. Alright, so time to take the engine off the stand and get the clutch and flywheel installed, and then of course we can put our transmission on there and prep the engine for it to go back in the car. Alright, so we're going to use an FX300. Like we said in past videos, we always use what we sell. I don't sell you one thing and then use something that's better. It's the only way I know I can sell it and feel good about it is to actually use it. That's what we're using in our motor here. Alright, so best part is getting it lined up so the transmission will go right back on, and if you get it just right, the transmission will pop right back on. There it goes. So now remember the bolts I ordered a while ago, the stainless Allen bolts. It's time to put those in so they match everything else. I'll put a link to these bolts. It did take a little bit to find them, but they sure look good, and now everything matches. It just gives it that little bit of a custom look without going too over the top. Now the mounts I'm using they're the OEM replacement style mounts. It runs all 5 mounts. They're by Hard Race. They're a little bit stiffer without being too stiff. And of course it takes all 5 mounts, so they'll hold up to the power without being too stiff. Now, of course, a lot of rewiring to make everything nice and clean and refurbishing parts like this. It's factory paint and it comes up so nice. I hated to strip it and repaint it. Look at that T-bracket. Looks like brand new. Alright, so today's been a lot of wiring prep work. All this harness in some way was just completely disassembled, cleaned up. There's a few wires cleaned up and changed, and of course added for some of the different things that we wanted, as opposed to wiring around the harness, which some of these wires had. So everything is loomed now, everything is cleaned, brackets are painted, stainless bolts are changed from the originals. Again, it cleans it up. This is my idea of doing the dress-up bolts. This is the way I like it. Stainless bolts with stainless washers. These are obviously just going to be cleaned up and new nuts put in here. There is going to be new suspension going there. That's why this is taped. We basically tape that and put it back. These are actually in good shape, so eventually we'll put a car boot seal together, and all the parts that come off, like there's a lot of good stuff on this, is going to be removed, so we will resell that. Master cylinder is on order. We're putting the Type R master cylinder. It's the bigger one. It works with the 5-lug brakes. The best, gives you the best brake feel. As you see, fuse box is put in. Again, new stainless bolts. Everything is coming together. So engine, transmission come together. It's got the new Clutch Masters clutch in there. It is the FX300. That's my favorite clutch. It's the softest feel, nicest engagement, and it will hold 300 foot-pounds of torque, which We shouldn't be anywhere near that. We're realistically going for 350, 325, something like that. Maybe a little over 200 foot-pounds. We'll see. You know how things go. It's easy to get carried away once you're on the dyno and you have a boost controller at your disposal, which we don't. I think, if I remember, I have to go back through the series. I think we just put a 13-pound spring in there, so I take that back. It's not going to have a boost controller. It's going to have 13 pounds, and it does what it does. That's the way we are shooting for. Interior is going together. The carpet is in. The door panels, or the rear quarter panels, and it really starts to stand out on those seat belts now. They're really starting to show. Carpet is in. Went ahead and re-dyed the carpet. This was the carpet that a follower donated to us. We just paid him for the shipping. Well, we went ahead and re-dyed it, so it now looks absolutely mint. It's really starting to come together now. It's actually getting quite exciting. This piece here, I'm thinking I'm going to remove that and strip it and get it repainted just so it looks nice and clean under there. It is going to have the back seats and the carpet, but it looks a little funky, so we want to make sure that is perfect.
Thank God he didn't. You have to consider all 6 kids. Imagine that. Yeah. I didn't think that's tough. That's a tough thing to do, too. 102.5, The Bone. Right here with 102.5, The Bone for all the latest on Hurricane Dorian. We'll keep you up to date on all of the latest severe weather and hurricane information. That is Real Raw Radio.
Spectrum Mobile offers the flexibility you want and savings you deserve. Get our unlimited data plan and save up to 40% or pay for just the data you use.
There's a picture of you smoking at the altar waiting for me.
No, there's definitely no picture of me.
Well, you can clearly see that he's blowing smoke.
Oh my God, I can't remember that.
Maybe I'm a bad person.
Alright, so now we have a good windshield in. It turned out that windshield was almost an inch smaller. I actually just took a tape across the middle and just took a quick measurement, and it was almost 1 inch smaller. So now the VIN lines up and the seal is even at both sides. So it took him about an hour, so when we get back on track, we'll put it back on the lift and we'll carry on with the engine installation. Alright, so now the engine is in. It's only on 2 mounts. We're going to finish putting the back one together and then start feeding everything around it. But now you get an idea what it looks like. It's starting to look pretty clean in there. So the amazing thing here, this bracket, the transmission bracket, we're actually changed it to the Allen bolts to dress it up a little bit, bring it back up to the year of 2019. But we just realized this bracket I made 15 years ago for an Integra. So it's doing the exact same job it did 15 years ago, but it's doing it with new bolts. Just amazing how time goes by. So this is where we are at. Bolts are cleaned up. Some of those bolts are new, the Allen bolts. We're changing those. That was the original bolt that was in the bracket. Now they're going to be Allens, which match some of the other ones. And then these are Allens. These are polished up. Everything's looking pretty good under here. So if you look through one of the earlier episodes, you'll see where we rebuilt this shift linkage. I think it might even be episode 3 or 4. I'll put the link in there, but this is going to go in here pretty soon, and I'm excited to see how it feels. I'm excited to show you how precise it is and basically verify why you should do this upgrade, or basically this rebuild, which if you watch it, it was basically tighten up this joint here and then rebuild all the parts to the shifter right here.
Put a lot of words in French mouth there. Stuff his dad never actually said.
All right, moment of truth. You ready? Oh, look at that. That's super precise. You feel that?
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
It's gonna make me miss a B-series shifter.
Yeah. I know. Didn't realize how good we had it. All you have to do is make it new again. It's the best shifter ever. Alright, so I don't know if we're going to use that shifter knob yet, or the leather one. So we're putting the carpet in on the inside, and we'll notice that this doesn't really, the carpet buttons don't really line up with anything, and the carpet is higher. Don't know how well this is coming out, but all these bolts here, there is some kind of bracing goes across here, and I think it's for like side impact load. This is where the seat would clip, but there's some big bracing goes across here. And as you see, there's a cutaway here. Well, we don't have anything, and I don't remember this car ever having that. I never took the car down this far when I owned it, so we're thinking something is missing. So I'm gonna go to the junkyard. There is one of these there, and we'll see if there is any kind of brace in here, but I believe it's for like side impact, which would definitely be a good thing to put in this car. Okay, so end of another day. The engine is all bolted in. The manifold is actually bolted all the way, and it has the gasket on it. We have the oil line hooked up the way we want it, the wastegate line. We also have the clutch line, and again, we're trying to keep things tight to the motor, and we do need an intake tube. So this is the clutch masters line. It's not put on the way they call for it, but we made it fit a little bit closer to the engine, so that is in there. Power steering parts are put in, the AC lines are in. That's a new dryer. This is like a filter, so if you ever take your AC system apart and clean the whole thing, make sure you replace that dryer. It does filter the system. So back here we can work on this. George is working on the wiring harness right now, but this again is the boost line for the wastegate. The thermostat housing has already been done. We've got the new thermo switch and the new thermostat in there, and we're working on these pieces back here. And again, somebody's going to watch this build and not see the beginning and not hear some of the things I said. I didn't want to do a wire tuck. That doesn't interest me at all. I wanted it clean. I wanted it close to the way it came factory with a little bit of an LHT twist on it. So hence why the ABS is not buried in the fender or dangling down there, because it needs to be functional, it needs to be serviceable, it needs to be where we can get to it. All the lines, we cleaned all the lines. Any bolt that's getting removed is getting replaced with the stainless fittings. I don't like the one with a color wash around it. It's a new style. It's not my thing. So any bolt we're taking off, my thing is doing the Allen bolts. As you see, there's one down there, and also wherever we're doing new hardware, we're trying to clean it and make it look as nice as we can. So that's another day. George is already gone. That's it for today. I want to get out of here, and we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow. Well, I would like to tell you that Mount Integra is getting smaller, but it's not getting smaller, it's getting wider. It's like it went from a pile to now kind of like a landscape. But you know, it's coming together. It's a lot of time to do this stuff. I know I made it look like we did it in 2 videos and it kind of seems like 2 days. It's not. There's a lot more time in it than it looks, especially when every single piece like this, before we install it, we're taking it apart and redoing it, refixing it, cleaning it, changing it. It takes way more time than you anticipate. But hope you're enjoying it so far. I appreciate you subscribing and clicking and liking and sharing and all that good stuff. And again, I'm hoping it inspires people to do the same thing. This is going to be a classic. Some people are calling it a classic already. And it's such a special car. You're not going to see these anymore. So if you own one, take care of it. Do some little tips and tricks, make it nicer, and we'll see you on the next video.